as you can see, it's been about a week. And Marcus is still searching for food, still pecking. I have not put any food in the tank, and his belly is still fat. Imagine that. Anyways, I'm sure you've noticed the rockscape is gone, and there's a good reason for that. It's currently tipped over, but being housed in the 90-gallon. The project is, there's a product called Miracle Mud. It has extra, I'm pretty sure it's just sea mud from the deep sea, and they collect it and dry it out and put it in a bottle. It has all sorts of the elements, trace elements and whatnot. And when it's deep and layered, it can actually have the capability of reducing nitrates. Now, the company claims you could run a tank without a protein skimmer. Honestly, on this 3-gallon Pico, I don't know how I would run a protein skimmer. It's so small, not enough space. I mainly just contribute to water changes, so I'd be very curious to see. Now, I've had my fun with that rockscape. As you saw, corals did start growing on it. I might just let them grow out on a little, island and sell the rock as a platter of SPS, I guess. So my plans for this instead are new rock. I'm actually going to use thinner, skinnier, and elongated pieces to, build a structure. I'm going to use super glue outside of the tank with some dry rock. We're going to get some new sand. I don't think I'll use all of this old stuff. Look at that sponge growing, by the way. If I can, I'd like to try to keep that as well. That is a clam from Harmon's, by the way. I had a fish that I won't name that I was trying to feed the other day, and in my 90-gallon, of course, and I was using these clams that were on ice in the, I don't know what you'd call it, the seafood section of my local store, grocery store. And what do you know? I guess the clams they sell for food are so fresh that they're alive. I actually ended up with a whole bunch of them. I just threw them in the sump. They filter feed, stick their tongue out all the time. There's one on the rack. And then one buried himself in the sand near the clam, which I think is hilarious. Anyways, I think it'd be interesting to see how the Miracle Mud does for the setup. Now, to save some rambling, I'm gonna make this video over a couple weeks, so I'll see you when I get everything I need for the project. Alright, it's been a few weeks. Some nasty mess in there. Moved it all into there. And here's the new rock. Looks pretty sweet, I think. Pretty tight fit, but it works. Still contemplating design. I'm gonna go ahead and put a cup of mineral mud in there. Hopefully it's not too turbulent in there. If it is, we'll address it, but yeah. Got the Miracle Mud. Alright, now the next step, you can take a pipette, clean one. If I can get one. And you want to soak it. This might take a minute. This is actually nice because you're supposed to have detritus in the Miracle Mud, and as you can see, there's quite a bit of that in there right now. So I imagine that it has some benefit right off the bat. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and tap it. A little bit more. Okay, here goes nothing. Yeah, that's really not bad. Yeah, nothing happened. I don't know why people complain about a dusty mess, because that didn't happen to me whatsoever on either tanks. As you can see, you're supposed to soak it before you put it in. Also got a new top off. It's kind of like someone said it was like a dog water ball. And it is just like that. I'm kind of tops off the tank and it'll bubble up. It kind of vacuums itself. It's a little tight, as you can see. But it does its job, and I'm impressed. So that'll be good. A little more stable in there. That'll be way more stable for this tank. And since it's already cycled, we can go ahead and add coral right away. Start gluing it. Alright, so I went ahead and cut some pieces, even some acros and millies. Kind of curious to see all kinds of colors. So we'll go ahead and put them in. Okay, so we've planted all the frags. As you can see. Montipora. Oh, cat's paw coral. Stylophoras, bird's nest, got a red dragon acro, it's a yellow lepto, bubblegum digi, that's called bubble yum, it's a really rare acro, green frog skin acro, acid rainbow millipora, beautiful orange, and then pink Cadillac, Canada, pink Cadillac, Acropora. There's probably some mushrooms, Kenya tree, and zinnia floating around in there still. As well as the GSP on the back wall. But I'm pretty excited to see how this goes. See the colors a little better. Beautiful. That one has purple polyps. Love it. Kind of curious to see how the acros do in the Pico. A lot of the times they lose their color. Miracle mud and a stable top off. By the way, you can find these on Amazon. Auto refill. It has pretty clear instructions. You know, sometimes they have very poor translation. Anyhow, it's a short tube and a long tube, and obviously a vacuum in the bottle. Water level drops past the low one, it'll refill out of there and there, and then it will shut off once it gets to the level. So you basically cut it to where you want it. The only thing about it, I had to Teflon tape this because it was just terrible. I mean, it leaked everywhere. But a few wraps around with the Teflon tape and you're good to go. So yeah, that looks great. I'm excited to report how the growth goes. Alrighty, everything's glued in. I was gonna plan on adding one more hammer coral, the original splatter hammer that was in here. And if you're curious what happened to the rock, you can go over here and take a look real quick. Okay. Now it's down here. It tipped a little bit, so I'll have to fix that. Carpet anemones down there. Everything's doing great. At some point I'll try to get that up here. It's just space is very difficult, so as you can see. But anyways. Now the red stuff you see looks like cyano. That's probably just algae. If you're curious why, I'm actually using Kraken Reef glasses instead of the lens. Yeah, that looks good. Excited to see how that grows out. SPS in a 3-gallon. This sponge is just there temporarily with the rubber band to obviously clear up a little bit. It's quite a lot of particles in there. I really don't run any socks or any filtration whatsoever on this. It's just kind of, flow. Water changes for the most part, but it's been a really long time since I've done a proper water change until today, so it'll hopefully give us a good head start. I understand that the pumps look a little ugly as well, although hidden on camera. See the tube? The other scape used to cover it nicely. Unfortunately, that's glued, so I'll have to move the back one. This one just kind of hangs out there. And then the thing about the scraper, I understand that these are supposed to be out of the aquarium, but by miracle, yeah, I guess it was a rough enough surface on there, so a green catspot coral spawned. I left a little frag there, and I don't want to kill it, so I don't want to take it out right. I may just chip them off or try to if I really have to take it out, but for now that just kind of hangs out in there. Here's a daytime look just real quick. Scape. I think it looks pretty good. And it is nighttime, so GSP is going to be closed up. But look at that color. Yeah, that looks awesome. guess the next thing to do is wait a few months up to a year and then report along the way. Let's really put these NICREWs to the test. And this 3-gallon Pico, as well as the top off. It's the next morning, and that is clean as a whistle. Miracle Mud definitely did not cause a storm, which is good. And everything is polyp extension to some extent. The light did just come on, so not too surprised there. See, our little trap worked pretty well. Got most of it, except for what I had just barely blown off the rocks. Is what you see floating. Now, this Milka stylo took a little bit of damage right at the base from my finger when I was fragging it off the main colony. And watch it heal. I'm confident that it's gonna heal to the rock and just continue to grow in here. And like I said, I'm gonna have to pick this up and update you every now and then, because growth takes time, especially out of SPS corals in this small of a tank. But nonetheless, I'm planning on getting some growth. So, yeah, it looks great. Now, my original plan was to take out all the sand and replace it, as well as put a layer of Miracle Mud about that thick underneath. And I'm just gonna explain real quick why I did not do that. Now, first of all, this tank has been up for at least a year, maybe 2. As you can see by the GSP growing on the back. And I just thought it would be quite a shame to throw away such good sand. I mean, this really does not have any issues. Very clean, lots and lots of life in the sand. You can see the little spaghetti worms. I would argue that these little worms keep this tank sand bed alive. They constantly sift it and churn it, as you can see. And I think those are just a good thing to have. I'm hopeful that they start spawning inside the Miracle Mud. I think that'd be a good home for them. That's the Pico. One more filter lens shot in the clear water. You can really see the colors out of these now. And the $15 Amazon light is really doing them a good service, I think. This is really good coloration. You can see the polyps coming out, which is a good sign. Aquapora, when they're not happy, they typically do not extend their polyps. So, and I may add a couple more frags into here, but all in good times. We'll let it get settled in.